This week's news, hot off the presses from the leading news organizations around the world. Take a seat, sit down, and hold on tight, because this is the last week's most important headlines. This week's episode, tax fraud, Georgia election victory, South American madness, and it's time for time. But first, we go to the city that never shuts up about itself, New York. After struggling to first find the jury for the case, a collection of people living under rocks, the illiterate, and those rare few who, quote, don't watch much news, found two Donald Trump companies guilty of multiple counts of tax fraud. The evidence, totaling enough pages to build a building of the same quality as any Trump hotel, detailed how millions of dollars in Russian bribes, mail-order brides, and the chronic misevaluation of property were used to cheat Uncle Sam out of millions in taxes. In a statement today, the victorious prosecution said, quote, "The sun rose, the sun set. The man who seems like the type to commit tax fraud, committed tax fraud." Meanwhile in Georgia, in an election that shouldn't have been as much of a surprise as it was, Raphael Warnock went on to beat Herschel Walker in the race for Georgia Senator. In a statement today, the Warnock campaign said, quote, "We are happy today to demonstrate that a slim majority of Georgians have functional brains, and chose to reject a man who is as blisteringly stupid as that brain-damaged football star." The campaign went on to explain that Herschel Walker, while a terrible choice for Senate, is a great example of why children should never be allowed to play football, and why America needs socialized medicine. And now, for your viewing pleasure, a selection of Herschel Walker quotes. A department that can look at young men, that's looking at women, that's looking at their social media. I do not know if you know, but vampires are some cool people, are they not? But let me tell you something that I found out. A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that? I never knew that. So, I don't want to be a vampire anymore. I want to be a werewolf. Since we don't control the air, our good air decided to float over to China's bad air. So, when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space. Then, now we gotta clean that back up. And now to Germany, where authorities have foiled an alleged right-wing plot to overthrow the German government. When asked for comment, the CIA said, quote, "The Central Intelligence Agency is not behind this attempt to overthrow the legally elected German government. And in fact, we have not attempted to overthrow a government anywhere in the past 6 months. Even Iran. Like, seriously, we swear Iran wasn't us this time." Speaking of coup attempts, South America, where the president of Peru was impeached and arrested after he had attempted to install an illegal emergency government against the will of Congress. When asked to comment again, the CIA said, quote, "No, seriously, we had no role in either of these. Trust us. If we wanted a South American government overthrown, we would have been successful." And in even shockinger news, the Haitian government, facing widespread chaos, gang violence, and a paralyzed political system, is openly calling for foreign armed intervention to stabilize the situation, in a move foreign observers are calling, "Huh? We reached out to the CIA for comment. They stopped answering our phone calls." And now on to sport and the World Cup, where... What do you mean no one cares about the World Cup anymore? Oh, because we lost. Yes, I understand. Moving on from sports, in a story that'll make you say, "Oh, I guess it's time to find out who the Time Person of the Year is." Volodymyr Zelensky was named Time Magazine Person of the Year for 2022. He joins the esteemed ranks of Barack Obama, Albert Einstein, Jeff Bezos, Mikhail Gorbachev, Ronald Reagan, the computer, Richard Nixon, Henry Kissinger, Nikita Khrushchev, Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, and of course, Vladimir Putin. Zelensky, who has unified his whole nation against Russia and Putin, and whose bravery in the first chaotic days of the war helped Ukraine stand up and fight and stick a giant middle finger to Russia, is perhaps one of the more deserving nominees on the list. Alright, that's all of this week's news. Now get on and do something more productive with your lives.